Welcome back to Facts and Fictions, the Cozy Book Club podcast where we talk about the books we're reading and the thoughts we're having on them. My name's Morgan.
My name's Desiree, and this week we're doing a Brief Encounters episode where we discuss short form writing, so articles or things that we find on the internet that aren't books. This week we're talking about an article that Morgan found online about a man named Dan who documented every book that he read. And Morgan, do you want to tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, so Dan from 1960, Dan documented every book he read from 1962 until his passing in 2023, and it was a physical documentation. And at his funeral, his daughter had that document turned into a website, so all of the guests could scan a QR code and see the list of books he read and the thoughts he had on them. And of course, that went viral in the reading community because it's just so rare to have such a thorough documentation for that long spread of time. He read almost 3,600 books in that time. He was one short. And there were a lot of different articles. The one I read was in the New York Times, and we'll have that linked below. But just an amazing story about an amazing man. He started when he was 30, and for the rest of his life, just documented every single book, which I think is so impressive.
That's awesome. And I feel like hearing that he started it when he was 30 makes me feel like I should start a physical log because I have a little bit, but not something so succinct. I feel like the name of the book and author and, 31. So, we could have a similar thing. Yeah,
definitely. To stick to something for that long. I'm like, that's so impressive. I mean, obviously I haven't had time to stick to anything that long, but I also feel like I would have a lot of trouble not getting distracted or forgetting.
Yeah. And I think another thing is it was very simplistic. Mm-hmm. He didn't do, review of it or stars. He just did what he read.
Yeah. It was a very simple log.
Yeah. So impactful.
I thought it was cool. He started his log when he was serving in the Peace Corps in Nepal. And in my head, I feel like that's just like a very Nepal vibe thing, like just being very mindful. And that's something I want to cultivate more in my life. Like sitting down and taking the time to do the things I want to do instead of just be like, oh, it's so cool that he did that. And then never doing anything about it myself.
Yeah.
Like for me, like reading it, I'm like, okay, I just need to be a more mindful person because I'm very impressed when people are able to commit to something like that. And I'm sure to him, it probably didn't even feel like a commitment. It just became like something he did.
Yeah. Habitual. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was very sweet that his daughter at his passing had the thought to do that, knowing how special it was to him. And I was like, I feel like all of the guests, if I were at that funeral, I would want to read every book that he read.
Absolutely.
Which is almost impossible.
I mean, you could spend so much time looking through the entire log, but I love the simplicity of it. But I do kind of wish he would have noted like his favorites of the year or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But
a little Spotify wrapped.
Yes.
Tan Reads wrapped.
Yeah.
So with him reading that total of just short of 3,600 books, it's like he was averaging 50 to 80 a year, which for me, that seems very daunting. I think 50 in my head is doable, but uncomfortable. 80, I'm like, that's such devotion to reading, which I love.
Mm-hmm. That is a lot.
It's so many.
Because what do you average a year?
I probably do 2 to 3 books a month, so like 36 a year.
Yeah.
If I push myself, I feel like 50 is doable, but that means like sacrificing other things in my life that I really enjoy.
I average usually about 2 a month.
Yeah.
24, I think I did 25, 27, kind of in that range. And yeah, 50 sounds, I already spend a lot of time reading books. And then I also like to read magazines and things like that. So 50 books a year or 80 books a year. Gosh. Yeah, you really have to be committed.
Yeah. It's amazing that he was. And I wonder at that point, he's probably a pretty efficient reader too, like a speed reader. Have you ever seen any of those videos online of like people who are able to like read and absorb super quickly? Like their brains are wired in a different way.
No.
I've seen a video, it was fairly recent. The kid was probably like 8 or 9 and he has like a super, like something in his brain's just a little different. And then he's able to like summarize what he read. And it's like, so I wonder if Dan, probably not to that degree, but had like a little bit of like wiring in his brain where he was able to very quickly and very efficiently absorb a story. I am not necessarily that way. I think I'm a little quicker maybe than the average person, but not a speed reader by any means.
Yeah. A fast reader when I want to be.
Yeah. I need to be.
Yeah.
We've got a deadline for recording and I need to finish this book.
Yeah, exactly. I do find it super interesting though that there are people who can do that.
I'll try to find that video and send it to you because it was like amazing. It was just like the cutest little kid ever and just like a little super brain.
really would come in handy in school. Yeah. Also, when I was going through the log, didn't go, a page and read every page, but I flipped through and just found it interesting reading some of the titles of books, different years.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at the year I was born, and I kind of go back and read maybe a couple of the ones that he read the year I was born, just kind of see.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm sure the amount of books he reads per year, he's definitely reading some of the popular books in culture at that time. So I feel like his log is a great way to kind of be able to pick books to read.
Speaking of him, like reading the popular books, I thought it was kind of funny, like imagining him reading "I'm Glad My Mom Died." I feel like I'm seeing like an old man reading that at the park or something. It's like,
yes.
It was a funny imagery in my head.
Yeah.
I liked that they pointed out that in the New York Times article that was pointed out as one of the books he read and enjoyed, which, you don't really think of a 90-year-old man picking that one up. But I do think he probably had his finger on the pulse of what people were reading and wanted to be part of that.
Yes. It's really, reading, it's such a solitary thing, but it's also, you're a part of something bigger.
Yeah. You get to like pick on so many like shared references and ideas and just like thoughts that people are having. Like you're missing out if you're not, I think, reading like the popular books at the time along with, your ones you're most interested in.
Absolutely. And it keeps you young too. He kind of knows what the young people are reading.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just loved that. And as I'm trying to get through I still haven't finished Half His Age.
Speaking of, right here.
I think I'll finish that tonight. But
yeah.
I loved I'm Glad My Mom Died. Half His Age isn't hitting the same for me.
Yeah.
Which I didn't necessarily expect it to.
Yeah, how Jeanette McCurdy feels about kind of the reception, because she had such a truly insane reception to I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Yeah.
And talk about it more when we do the review of the book, but not so much for this one.
Not so much. Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of, I've seen a few on Reddit when I was trying to see like, oh, am I alone in how I'm feeling? And I was very validated, but then some people really did resonate and enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think she really was intentional and committed to speaking about what she did. So I don't know that she cares.
She just wanted the story out there, which is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what you have to do, and just like block out any of the reception that's not beneficial to you.
Yeah, 100%.
Another thing mentioned in the New York Times article was that his kids kind of remember their lives through the books he was reading. And I really loved thinking about that, because there are certain periods of my life that like I really resonate with different books. Like going back when I was little, starting with like When Sophie Gets Angry. That was a book my brother brought me home from his Scholastic book fair because I was sick and I couldn't go. And that was in kindergarten. And it was like, I created my life through that book. I don't remember much about kindergarten, but I remember loving that book and Brown Bear, Brown Bear.
Oh,
which that was like my favorite one to read in my class.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely feel like similarly to like music, I feel like a lot of people timestamp lives with the music that they're listening to and stuff, but also with books as well. I think all readers probably feel that way. But when I was a teen, I was obsessed with Twilight. I read all the Twilight books, and then the experience of going to the movies with all of your friends. And
I feel kind of a lot that way with Harry Potter. And I remember when the final Harry Potter book came out, begging my parents to take me to like release day at the bookstore, and both of them said no, but I wore my dad down and he took me and I got my copy, which that was like, I was a very go with the flow kid. I wasn't a very like my way, like do what I want. But for that one instance, I was kind of bratty and it paid off.
Yeah.
So, but I distinctly remember that period of my life. Books, like in 8th grade, there was this book I read called Kiss and Blog. And that in my head sparked the idea of like creating a website, and that ultimately like I did. And it kind of changed the trajectory of my life. It took a few years to get there, like a full 4 years before I started the website. But there are just like certain books I read that have really shifted like my direction, which I just think is crazy. And I love 100%. That his kids felt that, even though they weren't the ones reading the books. But just like seeing, like, I think about that too a lot. My mom was a big reader when I was little. And when I would go out, like if she was always a red recliner in the living room reading a book, I don't think I rarely saw her during her downtime not reading. And I do think seeing that like impacted me and turned me to a reader. And I just liked that. I imagine that was a good childhood for his kids to be brought up into a home where books were so important. Because now I don't think that's necessarily how kids are being brought up. And
Yeah, they just see a lot of phones.
that's
Yeah.
even when I'm hanging out with my nephew, I see him several times a week. If I need to be on my phone, my job is like on my phone. I in one of his little children's books, so I'm on my phone like this. So when he looks at me, I am just like intently reading one of his books, but I'm actually playing on my phone. But I do think it's important for kids to see the people in their life read. So even if I'm being a little disingenuous, I do enjoy being a little sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't, I feel like you think being on your phone for a minute is, but when it's compounded over time and it's, yeah.
So I always try to make sure he doesn't see me on my phone for more than just like a glance. If I need to do something like an email or something, it's within a book if I can help it, or I'll go hide in the bathroom if it needs my focus. But
he probably doesn't appreciate that now, but in the future,
when he gets bigger, and hopefully, like, he likes to read, I think that sticks with him. So there's, they all like books, but I hope he still does when he's 13.
Yeah. I feel like go through phases. He of them watching him read, he read books to them. And his daughter mentioned he read them Animal Farm, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah. So that must have been what he found impactful.
Yeah.
It's like, I need a message to my kids.
Yeah. Kind of acting like their English teacher.
Yeah.
Do you have any live in your memory because of somebody who read it to you or read it with you?
Not really. I was a very solitary reader. When I got older, me and my friend, every fall, we would read through the Harry Potter series together and then do a movie marathon. But that wasn't until like high school. I know my parents read to me when I was a kid, but once I was able to read myself, I kind of preferred to read to myself because I liked my own pace. So I don't really have any like strong memories like that. Do you?
I don't really. I'm the same way. I'm kind of a solitary reader as well. I like to go at my own pace, and I like to be able to quit a book if I don't like it as well. Which is funny because now we read a lot of books together. So I feel like all of the books that we've read together, I have.
Yeah, we've got like, again, with like those shared references. I like being able to like draw those comparisons and stuff with you.
Yeah.
So our entire friendship, we've both been readers, but it's been like an independent journey. It's kind of fun how that's converged now.
Yeah, definitely. My grandma one time brought home a box of like 50 Goosebumps books from a yard sale that she had driven past. And so whenever I see like Goosebumps, I think of her.
That's so nice.
It's funny because I probably wouldn't go for like Goosebumps, but because she brought the 50 Goosebumps to me, I became obsessed with Goosebumps.
I love that. I had a very similar mass gifting of books from Kim. Her daughter wasn't into the Nancy Drew books, and I'd never read them. But since her daughter didn't want them, she gave me like her childhood collection of Nancy Drew books. It was like complete like old yellow covers. They were ruined in a flood, which was like one of my greatest heartbreaks.
Oh my gosh.
I was furious with my parents, and obviously they can't control the flood. But in my head, I'm like, this is your fault. Like my most prized possessions, like I would still have them.
That's devastating.
In my head, I'm like, I wanted to give those if I had a daughter one day. Yeah.
Maybe you could find at least some on like thrift books.
I've got a few that I thrifted just like at Goodwill of like the random ones. And I feel like if I ever do have a daughter, I'll go hard on like recollecting them.
Yeah.
But though I loved those. Did you read the Nancy Drew books?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought those were. I remember, I think I was in 3rd grade when she gave them to me. I thought they were terrifying, but I was still obsessed with them. I felt the same way about the Goosebumps books, because my brother loved Goosebumps. Where I'm like, these are so scary, but because my older brother like wasn't afraid of them, I had to read them too.
They definitely scared me. Like I had my fair share of nightmares.
Did you like scary stories at all? I'm trying to think of. I need to Google really fast. There's like Scary Stories We Tell in the Dark, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
My older cousin would read those to us. He was the second oldest, and like all of us little kids would be like practically in tears. So that's like a story of somebody reading a book to us. There was one called Harold, one of the scary stories in that, and my cousin did this Harold impression. But like I could still probably scare myself if I thought about it too much.
Oh my gosh.
It was this scary story about the scarecrow. So that is actually an example of somebody reading books to me and being like impactful.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I think they're making that into like a show or a movie. Scary Stories We Tell in the Dark.
Oh, really?
I think so. Maybe I made that up. I feel like I've been falling for a lot of AI articles recently.
Oh, no.
I see headlines. I'm like, this is amazing. And then it's not true.
No, being on the internet is a little bit exhausting because I feel like I have to research everything I read.
Yeah. So apparently they did make it into a movie in 2019. I'm just like way behind. I have not. Oh, this is like the Harold guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen that. It's scary.
Yeah. So.
Jeez. Another thing that was about with finishing books out of stubbornness, and specifically Ulysses, which he hated that book, but he still finished it. How are you on stubbornness when it comes to finishing books?
I'm a more recent proud DNFer. I used to be stubborn. Like I started it, like my time hasn't been invested already. I need to finish. Now I don't do that. I am happy to just move on, which has probably changed within the last 2 years.
My notes, they're exactly the same as what you just said. I used to be very stubborn. If I started a book, I would finish it. But as of the past 2 years, I've gotten more lax with that. And if I'm not liking a book, I'm totally fine with putting it down, because I also love to pause a book. If I start a book and I'm like, oh, I like this book, but this isn't what I want to read right now.
Yeah.
I love pausing a book and coming back to it at a later time. And I feel like that's really benefited me.
Definitely.
The times that I've done that.
Yeah. The only one I've been stubborn about recently is Half His Age. And that's because we want to do an episode on it.
Yeah.
And I know it could be like a different angle for the episode, me saying, yeah, I couldn't finish it, but I'm going to get through it.
Yeah.
Next week.
You can do it.
I can do it.
So how far are you into it?
I am like at their breakup. And now she's like with Nolan.
Okay.
So, spoiler.
That's kind of far though.
Yeah.
You're almost done.
I've been like chipping maybe it's an ops.
And have you tried audio?
Yes, I hated
and
the
hated
audio.
It. Yeah. Okay.
I did. I liked the audio of I'm Glad My Mom Died. I just wasn't doing it for me with this one.
I feel ya.
Do you remember what time we started?
Nope.
Okay. I always try to like keep along how long we've been going. That's okay.
Another thing that was mentioned, wow, Dan went vegan.
I loved that.
He went vegan after How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, that almost made me want to cry, because like this 80-year-old man who's not going to be a victim of the climate disaster decides to go through with that. Like something about that I thought was like so sweet and like beautiful for his like thoughts on the future that he wasn't going to be a part of necessarily.
Oh my gosh.
In a physical way.
Exactly.
Like that's like so selfless.
That really shows how caring of a man he was.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
And to have a book change your thinking that much is also really special.
Yeah.
Do you have any books that you feel like have changed the way that you live?
I feel like one book I reread all the time is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, which sounds like a religious book, but it's not. It's just like one thought of like what after you die. The whole premise of the book is like these tiny little actions or to make throughout your life can so heavily butterfly effect impact the people around you. So it does make me think a lot about how my actions affect other people. That was like almost like a wake up. I read that one in high school. And I think that's a very self-centered time of your life. And I think I would become less self-centered as I got older anyhow. But I think that book is like what snapped me out of it. Where it's like, I think I was maybe 15 or 16 when I read it and not really thinking about anyone but myself, unfortunately. But I think that's just the nature of teenagers. And that was like a very quick shift. That's like the biggest impact I think a book's had on my direct behaviors.
So you feel like the first time you read it, you didn't understand it? Like,
oh no,
you did.
It was like
right
the first
away.
time I read it, I was like, it really got me thinking about how I can like the impact I have on the people around me and like the choices I make and like the small choices, especially because that's like what the book focuses on. Like, people you don't even know you are impacting for either the better or for the worse. And so it just like really got that in my head.
So you said you keep rereading it. So like what typically are you looking for when you go back to reread it? Is it like kind of like a centering book?
Almost, I think nostalgia.
Okay.
It was like the first book that really made me like feel, not the first one, but did you read, side note, The Boy in the Yellow Kayak, I think is what it was called.
I don't think I've read that.
Or maybe The Red Kayak. I'll have to look that up when I'm done with this thought. But this was one of the first books that really, really made me like think about the real world instead of just the world the book was in. And so I think it just like, I like going back to that. And it's such a quick read. It's like that thick of a book.
I'll have to read.
I'll bring it to you. I've got it somewhere. It's on my bookshelves. But I think you'll like it. And like, I think a lot of people don't pick it up because it does sound like it's going to be a religious book. But there's nothing religious about it except for the presence of heaven. But it's like the author's own thoughts on what heaven is. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love, one reason why I love Dan's love of books is just because I feel like, I mean, everyone is obviously the product of everything they consume. but books especially can really alter your life, just like how you were talking about earlier about the one that made you decide to create a website. The time that you spend with a book is, you're dedicated to the book message that it's giving you, and you might get a different message than someone else that's reading it, but it's just like books are really life-changing.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
They just get you to think about like things you wouldn't have thought about on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to look up that kayak book I told you about. It must not have been called that. But that was another one on like how like small actions can like have a big ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
I read in 8th grade, and it's like a children's heavy one where these boys are mad at their neighbor. So they drill holes in their kayak, and then the neighbor's toddler son drowns. Like horrifying.
Dark.
Very dark.
Oh my gosh.
But that one also made me think like, oh my gosh. That one devastated me for a very long time. I don't remember what it was called. So if anyone read that and they remember, it's not The Boy in the Yellow Kayak. But I do think the kayak was yellow in the book.
I'm sure we can, and if we'll do a little research, I'm sure we could probably find, based on the summary of the story, find that book.
Did you read, this kind of made me think about it, when you were a kid, like age inappropriate books?
Absolutely.
Sometimes like something I feel like when I'm a mom, I'm going to need to read all of my child's books before they read them, because I was definitely traumatized. The Lovely Bones I read in middle school. Did you ever read that one?
I don't know.
It's very dark, about a girl who lures him into like this trap, basically, that he for the purpose of like kidnapping and assaulting and killing her. And the story is told from her perspective as like a ghost. And I feel like it's fine to say this. At that age, I didn't know what rape was.
Mm-hmm.
And so like reading that was like, my mom was so mad when she found out I read it. But I borrowed it from my friend's mom because my mom already told me I couldn't. But it's like, I need you, like, what is rape, Mom? She's like, why are you asking me this?
You know what, though? The fact that your mom, like, that's another reason I feel like it's really important for parents to be in the know of, like, what's popular culturally, like books and stuff, because the fact that she knew that it wasn't appropriate.
Yeah, she read it. And so she had it, and I wanted to read it because she let me read some of her books when she was done with them, like if they were okay. But that's when she's like, no, you can't. And everyone was talking about that book at the time. So then my friend Madeline's mom let me read it. She gave me her copy, and then I had to read under my covers at night.
One book that comes to mind, like, why was I reading this as a child? The Child Called It.
I was just thinking that.
I like, seriously, why was I allowed to read that?
That was another one my mom wouldn't let me read, and my Aunt Connie gave it to me. I was always going to other people to source books my mom said no to. As soon as she said no, it was like I wanted to read it 10 times as much now.
Yeah.
So that one was so disturbing.
So that, I feel like that was, think about that book randomly, but also the author of it traveled to schools and stuff. And look, I understand that it's important to talk about child neglect and abuse and stuff, but there's no reason that I, as a whatever age, I was definitely under, I like 10.
Yeah, I want to say I was probably in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So that like lines up well.
Yeah, should not have been reading that.
No.
So anyway.
There are a lot of books where I'm like, there were a lot of James Patterson books I read like between like 5th grade and 9th grade, because that's what my mom loved. So if I was out of books that I got at the library, because I read them all, I would just go into her bookshelves like, okay, this one sounds good. I have like a lot of very heavy.
I don't know if I've ever read a James Patterson.
They're all murdery. Some of them are rapey. There's like a cross-dressing rapist one. I don't enjoy him as an adult. And I don't think I actually enjoyed him as a child. I just thought it made me feel like grown up reading the books my mom read. Yeah. So those were other ones I wasn't allowed to read. But she had so many of them, it was so easy to sneak one off the bookshelf and just push the books together so she wouldn't notice it was missing.
Oh, you're sneaky.
I used to be.
Now you don't have to be. You can just read it. Oh, gosh. So obviously Dan's list went, like you said, and there were many articles written about it, and in the reading community, people just obsessed with the list and how he put it. But what was your experience looking through the list?
Almost like emotional, and I was very moved by it. It made me definitely desire to do more like physical record keeping just of my life, which I already do some, but I think there's something more emotional about like seeing the handwriting and like the physicality of it versus a lot of what I do is just all like on the iPad.
I did like, because he switched between like typewriter.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Just very impactful seeing.
And we didn't know Dan, but I agree with you. When I was looking through the log, which also, if please time to go and look at this log, because they have it displayed so nicely on this website that they dedicated to it. You get to flip the pages of the log. But I don't know this man. I was emotional
I know.
looking at it too. So yeah, I think it shows like how touching looking at something someone put time into is, whether that be a handwritten log of all the books they read in their life or like art someone made.
Yeah.
We read a book, we're reading something that someone spent so much time on.
They poured themselves into.
Mm-hmm. Just like the human touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I used to be a very avid journaler, and this is maybe what kind of makes me want to go back to that, but also I'm like, I would hate if I had somebody publish my journal.
Yes.
So I need to like sign like during my death.
That's so funny. Well, first of all, I have ADHD. So anything I do, it's like in phases. So like I'll become obsessed with journaling for a few months. So I have like sporadic moments in time that I have journals from, but I have definitely went and ripped up pages of my past journals because I do not need a dedicated website for my journals.
You got your feelings out, but they need to stay out and out of everyone's business.
Yeah. But I definitely left the log wanting to be more, become more of a documentarian of life.
Yeah, me too.
I already feel like we both like analog, things, and this definitely heightened that sense of wanting to do that.
Too. There's just like something nice about like physical record keeping. I sporadically journal. I have been actually taking an online Palmer method course for handwriting. So that's gotten me to journal a lot more, just like I started that when my grandma died, so in November. And I have journaled probably twice a week since I started that, but more so as like an exercise to practice the Palmer method and actually get my thoughts down.
I love that.
It's actually really fun. Like I finally gotten like everything down and actually making it look nice and not just like muscle memory.
And can you give explain the Palmer method?
Oh yeah. So if like you ever see like a lady's handwriting, that's Palmer method. It was specifically most often taught like for girls and they're continuing, they wanted to be like secretaries or something. And it's like that very beautiful flowy cursive. And the whole point of it is you use your arm to write and not your wrist, because that way you don't get fatigued. And if they were going to be like record keepers or secretaries, locks, things like that, they couldn't have their wrists being fatigued. So, and I love that. Very recognizable and everything's very standardized. So some of the letters are almost like hard to like rectify, like why is that an R? Everyone knows it is, like in the Palmer method. So fun. And I collect old yearbooks and all of the signatures in there are so pretty. And it's because they were using some version of the Palmer method. There are different methods, but I chose the Palmer method specifically because it was developed near where we live. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Wow.
But, yeah, in Cedar Rapids.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know much more like the development, but this is local, so that's what I chose. There are 3 or 4, and they're all pretty similar. That's very pretty. I love that you're doing that. Yeah, it's been fun.
I really appreciate cursive in general. I feel like it does make me a little sad knowing that kids aren't getting like dedicated lessons for cursive. And I do think it's going to come back around, though, because we're already seeing where, not to get into the AI conversation, but I will just say we're seeing schools come back to paper and pen teaching. So I think it's super interesting, all of that. But while I don't do Palmer method, I love to send handwritten notes to friends, and which I have like stationery, which I think is so fun. I really had fun designing my stationery. I love like printing out pictures. I love to paint, and I just think all of those things that require you to physically do something are just kind of calming.
It's like slow down.
Which kind of takes us into our next topic, dopamine menus. So I don't know if you've heard of dopamine menus before, but they're basically like a personalized written list of enjoyable activities, structured kind of like a restaurant menu. Give your brain quick rewards and break out of like doom scrolling. Yeah, so definitely. Dopamine menu could be a fix. I haven't made one yet, so I think we're just going to walk through
workshop it.
So there's 4 categories, just appetizers, entrees, sides, and specials. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what's your appetizer for your dopamine menu?
This one, it doesn't feel like it should be like a dopamine-y, but I was thinking making the bed because that's like a reward for later that night. I'm not somebody who has to make my bed, are you?
I love to make my bed. And even if I don't do it right in the morning, which a lot of times I don't because I'm usually waking up first and my husband sleeps in.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I love to get it done at some point during the day because I love to come back and get in bed, like to have made bed.
Yeah, I'm like a 3 times a week bed maker. And it is when I'm like, you know what, today's gonna be rough. I need to climb into like a very crisp bed tonight.
Crisp bed.
Yeah. So that's like, I feel like very appetizer for me because I know it's gonna like make my night better.
I love that. I'm going to do making a cup of tea.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because anytime I feel like I need to like pause and just like chill for a moment, I love to have a tea. Specifically, I love peppermint tea.
Oh,
Pretty
I love
classic.
peppermint tea too.
It's like comforting to me.
Have you ever had the throat coat teas?
Have.
I love those ones too, even when I don't have a sore throat. Sometimes I feel like I need to bring that here for like all of our chit chatting. So maybe I'll do that next week.
Yes,
But I still want
love
coffee
that.
too, so we can have coffee and tea.
Love that idea. Okay, your entree.
An entree I was thinking about was creating art in some way, which is something I need to be more intentional with because I really enjoy it. And I've got so many canvases and paints. I am somebody like, I don't want to waste a canvas, even though I've had these probably for 4 years now. I bought a big pack. Where it's like, if I waste a canvas, whatever, fine. But I do want to start doing more art. My mother-in-law is an artist and she's always showing me what she's working on. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. I'm like, I just need to be more like, just go forth and like, but I'm too much. It's not even perfectionism. I almost said that. I don't know what it is. Like fear of like putting forth the effort and then liking the result.
Yeah.
But I think I like the process. So I just need to go for it.
I feel like though, like being fearful of not being perfect, right?
I don't know. So it's like I don't need to redo or fix it or like do it until it's perfect. It's just, I almost like even if I enjoy the process, if I don't enjoy the outcome, like it sours my mood and I don't need it to be that way.
Yeah. I can completely understand that because I feel like I'm similar and I really have to force myself to be okay with something. But we should have a paint night or something like that because I feel like we both love to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law started doing, I forget what it's called, the paint knife things where it's like thick and gooey and it takes a week to dry. But she was showing me her book with like follow alongs. I wonder if I could borrow that or have her send me a picture of like one of the pages where it's like step by step to get a beautiful result. Is like you're learning how to do it.
Okay. Love that entree. I think mine will be taking a walk like in a park or something.
That's so nice.
Because I feel like that really centers me. And maybe with my dogs, because when I am going on a walk, I feel like when I take my dogs, they help me be really present.
Yeah. Because you've got to kind of focus on them. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually reminds me of one of my like summer goals. And across the bridge, we've got all sorts of like paths along the creeks. Let's go on walks together this summer. Yes. I want to do like the Crow Creek, the Duck. You can just like walk for miles and miles and miles because there's so many connected paths. And I've never fully done them. Garrett and I have our favorites that we go like out and back, but I want to just like keep going. Like we can park my car at one stop and yours at the other so we can get as much.
Yes. That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be really fun. And completely unrelated, but just so I don't forget, I want to do Flowzilla this year.
Me too.
Okay. So.
Yes. Would Garrett do it?
No, absolutely not.
I was going to say. Well, because Jake would like to do it as well.
Okay, so I can third wheel with guys or he can third wheel with us.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Well, we'll mark that on our calendar.
Okay, cool.
I think I already have my calendar actually because I was really sad last year.
Perfect.
We didn't do it this year. Because we went and watched. We found out too late. Well, we didn't sign up on time. And then we went and we with them.
Oh, yeah.
Flowzilla, so
that'll be fun.
That'd be really fun. Okay. Your side. So that meant to be an add-on that makes other things better.
I was going to say switching out my wax melter for like a crisp, new, fresh wax square. Because I let them go until you really can't smell them anymore. And I love the day I crack a new one in there. Because I use it every day. And probably like every 5th day I'll change it out. But getting a brand new one, even if it's not quite time, is like my little side.
I love that. Mine is kind of similar, is candle-wise. Mine is like the process of lighting a physical match and on my candle because I love something about lighting a match.
Yeah,
is like, I love the process of it. I love the sound of it. I love lighting my candle with it. And then I love like the smell when I blow it out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do I. I love that smell. It almost like it feels nostalgic, like being like a little kid on your birthday.
Yes. I love it
Get
so
you.
much. You can get a box of just the cutest little matches at the store for 99 cents. It's just, I love it. I appreciate wax melts, but I just love proper candle with them and lighting it with a match. Okay. And then the last is special. So like a rotating treat or something, I guess, fun.
Mine, I like took very literally as a dessert, and I was thinking going getting an ice cream cone because I love doing that. Like even if we have ice cream and cones at home, I want to go and get in the car and drive to the ice cream shop and get an ice cream cone.
Whitey's?
Whitey's, what's this? Oh, what's this in Davenport?
Never been.
Oh, it's so good. Or no, it's in the Village. What's the Scoop? You would love it. They've got like different, like kind of like gourmet type flavors. Like they've got some with like honeycomb or like goat's cheese. Like they're very good. But yeah, so physically going and getting an ice cream cone, not just making one at home.
Well, that we just went and got ice cream cones on Wednesday.
I couldn't help but notice an ice cream cone in your freezer Wednesday.
I didn't finish it.
Some sort of red ice cream. Was it red?
I got strawberry.
Yeah, so pink ice cream.
I'm dead. I had this thing. I do it every single time. Usually not with my ice cream cone. That's actually kind of a unique thing. But like anytime I get a shake or something, I don't know what my problem is. I never finish it and I put it in the freezer and then it gets freezer burn and it's
that
every single time. It doesn't matter. My problem. My special, mine's going to be having a picnic.
Oh, that's so cute.
Specifically, I love to have a picnic after I go to the farmer's market.
Yes.
And get like a couple little things and whoever you're with, able to go, especially our farmer's market that we have in where we live. It's right on the bank of the river and there's literally the perfect spot for a picnic. So I love to go and get, whatever, and then bring a blanket and just read a book and have a little picnic.
That's so nice.
And there's something about a picnic. There's something, the dopamine menu kind of reminds me of this saying that someone online, I think, popularized recently. It's called like polishing the present moment.
Oh yeah.
That is really how I love to live my life, is just polishing every moment, just making it a little bit more special. And I feel like I love that you brought up the dopamine menus as something to do because I think those are the sort of things that make time slow down.
Definitely.
And make you feel more present in what you're doing.
And I read something, I'm not going to put it nearly as eloquent, on Pinterest actually, about like how moms specifically, like their entire job is to like give their children like a magical childhood. And it's like, but why aren't you giving that energy to give yourself a magical life? And I feel like that's something like as adults, we kind of like lose the magic. And so it's something I've been thinking about. It's like, okay, like if I wanted to like make this moment more magical, there's obviously no kids present, but like what could I do for myself? I would do if I did have like a kid or something.
I love it.
And I feel like it was just something I found on Pinterest that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I love that you said picnic because I tore our basement and guest bedroom apart yesterday looking for our picnic basket because I've got my nephew this week. And that was like something on my...
Did you find it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Because I want to take him on a picnic because I don't think he's ever had a picnic before. So I'm going to pick him up from preschool. And then...
Make sure to take a picture of you guys on your first picnic.
Oh,
that's cute. That's a special moment.
Yeah. So it's going to pack. It's very Peter, so I need to figure out what I can pack that's picnic approved that you'll eat. But
it's cute. That'll be really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Love that. Wrapping up, I think that was a really good Brief Encounters episode. And aside from that, we do a couple coming up that we're going to review that I think everyone will like. Yesteryear, which we have right here. I finished it and Morgan's going to be reading it soon. So that will be coming up at some point with half his age. You got a lot of redo, actually.
I think I can finish half his age tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we'll have another book review episode up next week. And then after that, we will have an Overdue for a Chat episode. We really enjoyed the first one, and feedback from Jake. He said he really liked the Overdue for a Chat episode.
Our number one fan.
Yeah. But it is fun to just kind of talk about kind of the up and coming books and things we're excited about outside of dedicated book review or episode about articles like today. But yeah, anything else?
I think I'll be thinking of Dan probably for the rest of my life, which I was like, that's just crazy the impact daughter is able to make.
I know. And I wonder if I'm not sure, did she say that if she started documenting her books that she read?
That's a good question.
I don't recall her saying, but you would think that would be the outcome.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think we already log our story graph, but I do think I want to create a simplistic list like Dan.
Yes. I need to get like a notebook just dedicated to it. I say that as if I don't already have 40 blank notebooks.
Yeah. It's time to pick one.
Good call.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. So much for listening to Facts and Fictions. We really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're new here, let us tell you a little bit about what we do. We publish new episodes every Sunday, and we've got 3 kinds of episodes to keep things interesting. First up, we have our book discussions, where we do a deep dive into one specific book. So if you really love digging into a read, those are for you. Then there are our brief encounters, where we tackle short form writing. Think magazine articles, Substack essays, things like that. Usually centered around a theme or topic we've been thinking about. Finally, we've got Overdue for a Chat. These are our most laid-back episodes. No reading required, we just hang out and talk about all things books. New releases, book-to-movie adaptation news, what's on our TBR, all of it. So whatever kind of reader you are, there's something here for you. Make sure you hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss a thing. We will see you next Sunday. Until then, happy reading.